Okay.
Yep.
Welcome back, everybody. How are you? This is Outside the Cinema, your weekly source for cult movie discussions and what is our season finale for year 16. Last show of the 16th year. Next week we start fresh, so year 17. But this week we are talking about movies that have been sitting on the plate for a long time and just hadn't gotten to them yet. So figured we'd get it cleared out there. So this week on the show we are covering Robo War, which is a Bruno Matei ripoff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And then the other film is Hollywood Zap, which is not a sequel to Zapped with Scott Baio, surprisingly enough, because there actually is a sequel to that. It's called Zapped Again, I believe. But
yeah,
Hollywood Zap is, I guess it's a comedy.
That's better.
It's a comedy that put out by...
It was written as a comedy, yes.
Yeah, and Troma put it out probably when they were doing they got it on their slate, bought it off of whoever, put it out back in the early 2000s. I'm assuming it's an 88 flick. So yeah, I will get to it, but yeah. So both of those are on the slate for today.
This show, yeah.
Yes, that's what we're doing today. There's not really.
Well, we got them off Tubi, right? Didn't we? Or was it Amazon?
Yeah, these are both on Tubi, I want to say.
Okay.
So last week when we started the show, I said how I was sick and I wasn't able, and can I tell you that I thought I was getting better and then I was sick all last week.
Oh no.
Yeah, like the cold that just would not release its grip on me.
Huh.
And I'd already been sick for almost a week at that point.
Right. Jesus. Huh.
Yeah, crazy. So everybody in the house was sick. Mel was sick. Travis brought it into the house. He was sick first.
Yeah,
and then he got Mel sick, and then Mel got me sick, and then I got Travis sick again.
Oh no.
So like he missed a couple days of school last week, which he doesn't usually. He's always complains about going to school, but he very rarely will be like, he actually called me to come pick him up, which is never. I don't think it's ever happened.
So I got an itch on my head.
It's all right.
That's really getting into it there.
Oh, bed bugs bite, right?
Yeah, no, they don't have bed bugs. That was the thing I hated the most about elementary school with my kids, was that elementary schools and the middle school, they're pretty much just like germ fucking factories. They just create viruses. I was getting sick twice a year when they were in school, and normally I'd get sick maybe every year and a half, like a major like thing. But they've brought home shit like COVID, thanks, norovirus.
Yep.
That was the worst. I would take COVID over norovirus any day.
The worst for me was when Travis was in preschool and he brought home hand, foot, and mouth.
Oh,
which was the worst.
We went, and this is no reflection on you or anybody we know. It was the other people there. Do you remember the painting, pottery, clay party that we all went to years ago?
Was it Travis's birthday?
It was either this is bad. It was either Travis or Jasper. But we went to, I want to say, Salem, to a paint, whatever that's called, the pottery places you can paint like a
most of them have gone out of business now.
Yeah,
Plaster Fun Time, is that what it is?
Yes, that's what it is. There were other people there because I look around and I have to know everything that's going on. There were a bunch of sick kids that weren't with us, and I was sick for 3 weeks after that. Like my wife brought me soup and I went to grab it and my hand went into the bowl and it had just come out of the microwave. I didn't even feel it. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Give me the soup." It was the closest I felt to being a corpse.
Wow.
Groups of kids together, Chuck E. Cheese, any of those places, you wear a mask. I would have
wear
been
a
better
mask
off.
and don't touch anything.
Oh my God. Yeah. And if you do, burn your hands.
Yes. Burn them. That's the only way to fix it.
Got to get all that disease off of you before you put food in your mouth.
So, I do want to mention this, and I know we always say how we're not a political show, and we're not, but we do. It does come up from time to time, and the world, the country that we currently live in. I would just like to tell our international listeners, specifically our Canadian friends and our
and
Mexican friends, if anyone listens down there,
Panamanian,
we
Greenland.
are as unhappy and upset about this fucking administration doing what they're doing as you are. I'm like, I can't even believe what Donald Trump has been back in office for barely 2 weeks.
He was on the 20th, and the 21st was his first full day.
And it is literally already the longest administration I've ever seen.
I don't understand how this stuff's happening.
It's happening because he has control of everything, and nobody's going to tell him no.
Yeah, but he's 1/3 of the fucking government, not all of it.
Oh, you're 100% right. But the Republicans own the House and they own the Senate at this point.
Well, they're gonna never own anything else again.
You know, I like to think that, but I don't believe it.
No, it may not be for us, but like they're doing to American kids what they've done to the Middle East. And while they've been trying to go to Afghanistan, Iraq, all those places, and tried to get peace and spread democracy, all they have done is create more people that hate the United States. So what these dumb motherfuckers are doing is making us re-hate Nazis, prove that I was right about Elon Musk, and we're gonna hate them. Our kids hate them. They are not going to be a viable political party after this.
I wish I could believe that. But do you remember, probably at this point, it was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were just discussing the upcoming election, and we brought Trump up. Oh, I don't even. That's weird. How's that? We brought up Trump, and you were like, "There's no way he's going to get elected," and I told you, "Don't be so sure of it."
No, I meant without cheating.
I mean, clearly, I don't think he cheated.
Huh?
I don't think he cheated. I think he cheated the voters.
If you don't think people cheated to get him into office, I honestly, sorry, that's naive. Okay, now listen. Okay, because I've been thinking about this. That fat, fetid piece of shit has been yelling about they stole the election from me for 4 fucking years. And what have we done? Made fun of him for it. He's crazy. He's stupid. He's an asshole. Elon Musk shows up, and all of a sudden, he wins every fucking swing state. The election results were sent through Starlink.
Yeah.
Before Kamala should have won at least one swing state. That's the biggest fucking mistake they made. And I'm watching reports of people, the election committees, going through the records, and there are millions of votes that have been thrown out. Enough votes so that he would have lost the popular vote, and he would have lost at least half of the swing states. He fucking cheated. He stole it because all of the people in charge have all the money, and they want what's best for them. And if they have to fucking cheat, they will, because Republicans cannot win a fucking race without lying or cheating. And I don't know why people can't see that. Now we got Nazis walking through the fucking streets. You know, I have a website, and in the basket I have 2 sets of brass knuckles because I'm done fucking around. I don't care. If I see somebody throw a Nazi salute, I'll go to jail trying to kill them. And honestly, I see people that I am or used to be friends with that are defending Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a fucking Nazi that's trying to steal our Social Security money, so fuck off. Elon Musk is a racist from South Africa. Did no one learn a fucking lesson from Lethal Weapon 2? All of this shit is just bad movies being redone. Like, Trump is like a fucking Nazi by way of a slapstick idiot comedy. He's really bad at this. He said, "Russia, you should dig up some dirt on my opponent." And at that point, they should have said, "Motherfucker, get out of here. We don't do traitorous bullshit. We don't talk to Russia." But then he mocked a disabled reporter. He threw paper towels at fucking hurricane victims. He changed a map to show which way a hurricane was going just so he wouldn't be fucking wrong. The guy is a lunatic. And there aren't even appropriate words to say what kind of person he is. I can't do it. There's a lot of shit that I want to say. There's a lot of stuff that I've been wanting to post. I wanted to get how I feel out there. And I haven't, because I know anything that I put out there is going to eventually lead to the Secret Service visiting me.
Right.
And this is the closest I've felt to taking action. This is not good. This is the shittiest. They're not even like the Third Reich. They're like a 0.75 Reich, because they're just shit. Like openly at an inauguration party, you're going to throw a fucking Nazi salute. That shit's illegal in Germany. We killed people to stop that. My relatives died to stop them. I'm not going to let it fucking happen again. I'm exercising. I'm getting in shape so I can last at least through a couple of punches. It's going to get bad. It's going to come here. And people need to get off their fucking ass and just not be like, oh, well, dude, Donald Trump's a great businessman. No, he's not.
No,
he's not. It's already shit. He is pulling the same shit. Oh, God.
We don't need to go too deep into this.
No. I have 2 ideas. 3 ideas. He's pulling the same shit that caused the Great Depression in the 1920s. Okay? And what happened with that is that stocks bottomed out. And then what happens? Stocks bottom out. People can buy them. People from anywhere in the world, right? So then all of these American companies whose stocks bottom out and need money get a big, huge influx of stocks being bought by China, North Korea, and I don't think North Korea can buy our stocks, but you know what I mean. And Russia. The other thing is Trump's just going to fuck everything up, steal all our money, and he's going to run away to Russia where we can't get him. And then my other idea is just ruin the fucking economy so bad that the banks and businesses have gone bankrupt, and now we need bailouts from banks, and we owe everything to communist countries. He's going to sell us to the fucking West. East, wherever the fuck it is. He's going to sell us to Putin because he wants money. I don't think any of those 3 are crazy ideas, especially with the shit going on now.
I mean, I'll believe anything at this point.
Don't discount the stealing it, because he said, we don't need votes. Don't bother voting. I got all the votes I need. That was 3 weeks before the election. How the fuck would he know that? He was getting like 1,000 people at his rallies. He's a liar. So if he said I didn't cheat, he fucking very well did cheat. He's never done anything honest in his life. He's a pedophile rapist, and we put him in fucking office. And why people can't just knock him the fuck out and take him out of the office and be like, no, we're going to do this again. 'Cause fuck you. This has damaged our country. This has damaged. We had a shit reputation to start with like civil rights and how we treat people and everything. Now let's just go full fucking fascist. Why not? Okay, so I'm good.
All right.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot building up in me, and I've almost restarted the other show like 5 times in the last 3 weeks. I just don't have time yet.
Speaking of ripoffs, why don't we talk about Robo War? Sorry.
Okay, good. I can carry the anger over into this.
So those of you guys that are still with us after that rant, Robo War, 1988, directed by Bruno Matei. Here is a trailer.
Here we have Corporal Neil Corey, top marksman rating. Private Larry Garino, Alfred Bray, dubbed Papa Doc. Sonny Peel, martial arts expert. His friends call him Blood. Quang, forward scout and point taker. And this is our coordinator, Major Murphy Black.
Enemy sighted, moving target, receive, on target, fire.
settling some accounts here.
Major, this belonged to Lieutenant Woodring. Remember him?
On target, on target, on target.
This is awful.
I didn't realize how many explosions there was.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they reused a bunch too.
Keep still.
Hope you like that riff.
I know. Definitely a Dr. Rhythm DR5. I think there's still like, I think, all right. Okay.
There's 8.5 minutes left in this trailer.
No, it had like 30 seconds left, but that's fine. You guys get the point. Lots of explosions in Robo War, directed by Bruno Matei, under one of his many aliases that he directed things under. Bruno Matei is obviously a legend in terms of ripoff films, whether it be Terminator ripoffs or Rambo ripoffs or this, which is a Predator / RoboCop ripoff.
Yeah. And Berserk. I'll get to that later.
Oh yeah. But he had some stuff, that is, legit called movie fare. Like he's let me scroll through it. I mean, we've covered him on the show before. He did Night Killer, which we did on the show.
You can absolutely do a ripoff and have it be good. You can.
Violence in a Women's Prison we did.
It's rare, but you can.
If it's the right movie. Goldface, the Fantastic Superman.
Oh.
We did that one.
Huh.
Obviously he did Gates of Hell, right? Wasn't he Gates of Hell?
I honestly can't say off the
I feel
top
like that's
of my
like
head.
his like most well-known, which would make no sense. Or which would make sense.
No, why would anything make sense?
Let's go. Yeah. Casa Provate per la SS, Women's Camp 119, Emmanuel, and the Porno Nights, Libido Mania. Yes, Hell of the Living Dead. Okay, yeah, but that wasn't mistaken.
Okay.
So
I get that. I get that mixed up with Hell of the Upside Down Sinners from Big Trouble in Little China.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a cult movie Italian legend that really specialized in ripoff films. And Robo War is no different. You have a group. I mean, have you seen Predator? Then you've got the idea of the story.
Yeah.
Maybe Predator, I know, is one of your favorite films. Maybe give me some differences between the two.
Oh, here's a big difference. This is the biggest difference between the two. They do the fire blindly into the jungle, knocking every tree down like 3 fucking times.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
That's true.
Another difference is the body's on the ground and not strung up in the tree.
Okay.
Yeah. And another difference is he jumps off the waterfall after something happens instead of before. The Billy character isn't a Native American. That's a difference, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I think the biggest difference is this group of guys looked like a bunch of day drinking deep sea fishermen that went out to make a movie without a script and no knowledge of the military.
Yeah. But despite being a, what did they call them? A class action lawsuit or no? Class action lawsuit.
Yeah, let's do that.
Something like, they called them like a, Strike Force Alpha, something like that. They were supposed to be. So the story is very simple. You're dropped into the middle of it. You have a robot soldier called Omega 1 that has been dropped into a jungle to take out gorillas, but is now no longer following its directives because that's what happens.
Yeah.
So they choose a strike team and send them in with one of the guys that helped make the robot. And they're supposed to like they're going there under the belief that they're going in to take out gorillas and save people or whatever.
Yeah, it was the with the woman they find. It's all children. That's what she's interested in. And by the way, the subtitles for this and the credits, she has two different names in this movie. A couple of times it's Virginia.
Okay.
90% of the time her name comes up as Virgin.
Yep.
And
you
I
look
think
on
in the
IMDb, she's listed
credits,
as Virgin.
Yes, that's where I was going. Yeah. So it was a mistake to call her Virginia, a real actual name of a human. And everybody had the same guns. They all had that like M80 or whatever it is. Like nobody had a regular rifle that they used. They had them on their backpacks, but nobody was using
and the other
an
thing
M16.
was they never ever ran out of ammo either, despite not bringing any extra with them.
Yeah.
So either way, the guy that leads the group is Yor from Hunter from the Future.
Oh man.
So most of these guys you would recognize if you've watched a lot of garbage B flicks, you'd recognize them.
Yeah.
But so they are brought into the beach to, find the gorillas or whatever, but then they realize they're being stalked by something else, and I don't understand how this thing stalked anyone because it couldn't really move. It's just a dude in a fucking painted black motorcycle helmet with like a plastic breastplate, a pair of football pads on his shoulders, and a couple of wood guns. The
motocross pads that people wear today in the 21st century look more futuristic than this dude's costume.
Yeah. It was.
They did add a decent amount of dirt to it. I'll give him that. A lot of Fuller's Earth powder put on that helmet to make it look the way it did.
Yeah.
At least it looked aged. That's
did.
the best I can do.
It did. So they're going through, and just like, any number of other films, they're getting picked off one by one.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the point where a couple of them have gotten killed, and then they finally see this thing, and they're basically like, hey, corporate OCP guy, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, oh, nothing at all. They're like, wrong. Answer me. And then he gives them a little bit of information at a time because he doesn't want to give up all the information.
Right, because and it's no reason other than it's for the audience's mystery.
Right. So he eventually tells them what's going on, and then they're like, all right, so we gotta try to take this thing out. And he's like, well, I've got it's got a self-destruction thing, and I have the controller with the self-destruction thing, which doesn't fucking work. Like,
of course not. Why would
he's like, oh, you got to be within range of it, and apparently the range you need to be is like an inch away from him and holding it up against his helmet.
Yeah, so it's basically a wireless button.
Yeah, it blinks.
You just have to walk up and push it.
It blinks because you have to be right next to him.
So dumb.
So there's also this other like side story of Yor basically losing a friend of his in a Vietnam battle. And just like RoboCop, we find out that, the guy's not actually dead. He's now the Robo guy.
Yeah.
Only he's the Predator.
Big surprise.
Yeah. A lot of explosions. They burned a lot of shit in this. They probably injured some stuntmen too, I think. There's a few dummies that get blown up that are pretty hilarious.
They did say in the trivia that the actor in the suit passed out at least twice because
can't imagine why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can't imagine.
Seems crazy to me.
Can't imagine why. And it plays out exactly the way you expect it to play out. You get your happy ending at the end, and it is what it is. There's not really a whole lot we can say about it because there's really not a lot happening. I think the biggest thing is the fact that it is blatantly a Predator ripoff. But it's just done in like the poorest way possible.
Yeah, no, you can't get away from Predator. You can't be like, no, we were trying to do something. No, you weren't.
No.
You were not. You were doing this. Just this.
Predator was what, 87?
Yes.
This was 88. So.
Yes, he saw the movie in the theater and he started making this movie immediately.
Oh, no, not even.
Not even reason.
They didn't see Predator. They saw that Predator was doing very well And a
Yeah.
producer was like, "Hey, call Bruno Matei. He could probably get a movie like this out in like a month."
Yeah.
And that's what happened because
That's a good point.
it's so much Predator, but also so not Predator because like it's just done in a really poor way, which makes me wonder if they ever actually watched Predator or just were like, "Tell me what it's about."
And somebody must have told them about that. Everybody standing in a row with their machine guns, and that's why that scene got put in this movie 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. 3 times they shoot the whole jungle down.
Yeah.
Also, they do find those kids.
Yes.
And I don't know why that woman freaked out, because if you look, not even look closely, if you just look at the shot of those kids, one of them moves
Yep.
and breathes and adjusts himself. So those children are not dead. There's no blood. They're all laying on their sides like dead bodies, slouch
Yeah,
and
there's
slump.
there's no blood on any people in this. There is a
No.
few mannequin skeletons that were shown with like what this thing does to them.
There was one that was good. There was one drippy, gooey skeleton that I thought, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's this going to the scene where you said they found the kids. So they find the gorilla's like base or whatever in the woods, and they tear through this thing and kill everybody in the gorilla. Like, and here's the other thing: if those kids weren't dead already, they were dead in friendly fire because of the amount of bullets that are shot everywhere and anywhere. And so the whole time I was like, how does somebody not get hit with a stray friendly fire bullet? Because like there's like points where guys are shooting at each other, like at the same guy on opposite sides. And like nobody ever catches a stray bullet. It's ridiculous. It's insane.
Well, they're movie bullets. They're infinite, and they only hit the bad guys. My first thought when I saw the kids in there was, how could they sleep through all that? Because like you look at them and you know that like it just instantly they're not. Come on, movie. Have them splayed out on the ground, or have them lay in front of a smoking hole or something. Just not just nap time in kindergarten, which is what it was.
Yeah. And the lady's response was definitely one of those, won't someone please think of the children?
Yeah. I will say, though, her initial scream of anguish was probably the best acting she did in the whole movie.
Yeah. Because she realized she wasn't getting
distraught.
paid.
Yeah.
That's how they got it out. They're like, oh, just so you know, we ran out of money, so you're not going to get paid.
You got to get your own way home, too.
Yeah. Out of the jungle. Wait, I don't know where it was filmed. Probably in the Philippines.
Yeah, I think that's what I read in the credits there. Yeah.
But there's definitely scenes that don't look like tropical jungle. They look like New England woods.
Oh, there's definitely has to be fill-in shots of like how they did in Empire, where they just open the door to the snow and it's like, all right, we'll just film there. There's trees. It'll look fine. I'll just angle the camera up a little bit. No problem. That has to have been done at like Matei's summer house or something.
Yeah. All right.
Bold of me to think he made enough money.
All right, Chris, do you recommend, and what is your grade for Robo War?
I am going to recommend this as a ripoff. So you have to know that going in. I'm not saying this is an awesome movie, because there's 2 other ones I would recommend before that. But if you like Star Crash and stuff like that, give this a shot. The guys in this, they, as bad as it is, they genuinely, I think, believe in what they're doing. They feel sincere in the whole thing, like, and it just comes off. I'm gonna say funny, but I don't mean that insultingly. Amusing, that sounds bad too. It's very entertaining to watch these guys play army in the jungle. I enjoyed that. But I mean, I understand, and I wanted to make sure I said this before I forgot. I think I completely understand why ripoff movies are thrown out this fast. You already have the basic idea of what's going on in the movie. Somebody already did all the work for you, and now you're just changing it to fit what you have. And that must be, I don't know, more relaxing because you know the story's already there.
Yep.
So I get why they put all these out. Some of them look like way too much work. I don't understand that. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a. I've been going with B's and B minuses, but this is not good because they don't pay attention to like how the military operates or anything like that. It just, I'm not a military person per se, but you do know when it's like when you're like in each other's eye line and your bullets are going to hit each other. Like there's no tactical stuff going on, like flank. You don't hear flank them, whatever. You don't hear any of that stuff. I'm going to go C plus. It was enjoyable, but it's not well thought out in the details.
All right, fair.
But it's fun.
I don't think I'm going to be as kind because in the Italian ripoff world, this one's pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm not arguing that.
In like a number of ways. Like I love stuff like Star Crash and like, you know, there are really good ripoffs. I mean, even like Zombie, which was a, you know, Dawn of the Dead ripoff essentially, you know. But this one just, I think the biggest thing is it plays itself too serious and there's not really an opportunity to have fun with it.
That's a good point. Yeah. I can't argue that.
It's I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like it doesn't, I mean, it looks cheap, but it doesn't look so cheap that it's like ridiculous. The robot, like the design on it is lazy, but like for what they're trying to do, it's fine.
Yeah. Cause they don't really show him a lot.
They don't, I mean, yeah. And then when they do, it's like a full body, like, and like the vision, the robot's vision was so bad.
It was very cheap. And he sounded like the voice at the beginning of Berserk. You know, get the human.
Oh, I thought it sounded like, what was the robot in, was it Buck Rogers?
Oh, Tweaky. Yeah.
Tweaky. Yeah. I thought it sounded like Tweaky.
Yeah. It's not a clicking predator or silent Terminator or any kind of scary thing like that. You heard its voice in the trailer a whole bunch. I would have liked to have had some variation on the tone or timbre or something of the voice. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. That was one thing I had to try to remember.
Yeah. So I'm not recommending it. I mean, if you're an Italian fiend and you know, like I'm glad that I watched it, but I don't think it's one that you guys need to check out. And as far as a grade, I D plus. I can't really go much below that because it doesn't do anything so egregious that like it made me angry, but it just doesn't do anything right enough to like bring it up out of there for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that is Robo War. You can watch that on Plex, Tubi, and I think it might be on Amazon Prime also. Okay, next from 1986, 1 year prior to that last film, a film called Hollywood Zap, which somebody a while back was like, "Oh, you guys should cover this because it's just ridiculous." And I was like, "Okay," and I put it on a list and never went back to it. And then I was like, "Oh, that's okay. We'll throw it in now. You know, last show of the season, we'll put it in." Yeah. I could not find a trailer for it. And when it opens with the Trauma team releasing, so we know that it's one of the ones that they grabbed the rights to at some point. They definitely didn't make it. It is directed by the writer of Friday the 13th Part 5. So you know you're getting quality because it's obviously the best Friday the 13th film. And this is written and directed by David Cohen. It's the only film he ever directed, which I get.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So what is Hollywood Zap, you ask? Well, it is the story of Tucker Downs, who is a Southern gentleman who works in a store as a manager. And it looks like a kind of like a store that's like a little bit of everything, you know, like they sell some clothes, they sell some food, stuff like that. He's getting yelled at.
What do they call them? Five and dimes?
Five and dimes, yeah. He's getting yelled at by a customer because she's trying to return underwear that she wore. And they're like, we can't take any undergarments back. That's just a store policy. And she's totally Karening out back in like the early 80s, which was kind of interesting to see.
Well, I mean, if you worked retail, that's not a joke. That's like some real shit you came across. Not fun.
Yep. So he decides he's going to quit and he's going to go find his daddy. I'm like, okay, this guy's supposed to be in his 20s and he's referring to him as his daddy.
Yeah.
Apparently he took off when our boy Tucker was just a youngin', 6 years old. Daddy took off. Ain't never seen him since. But he continuously writes letters to him in like a diary or something.
Yeah.
And so he's going to go out and find him. And all he knows is that his daddy ran off to Los Angeles, California, in Hollywood. So he takes off for Hollywood.
Yep.
He meets Nash.
That was a good pause. I like that because that's how I feel about this whole thing.
Yeah. So he pulls over because his car is overheating. And this guy jumps in his car and is like, hey, man, thanks for stopping. I've been out here hitchhiking. And he's like, get out of my car. Like, I don't know. Leave.
Yeah.
But Nash is a quick talker. It's played by Ben Frank. Ben Frank was also in, because he definitely seemed recognizable, or maybe he was recognizable because he just was doing a really, really hard George Carlin impersonation.
Yeah, he was trying.
He was Cella in Battlestar Galactica. He was an inspector in Death Wish 2. A lot of TV. Who's the Boss? Growing Pains.
Okay.
L.A. Law.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hollywood. He was in Hollywood Vice Squad, and he was in an episode of Tales from the Dark Side. So there you go on that. But so he's doing a hard George Carlin impersonation in this.
Yeah, but he's not funny. So
no,
problem.
not at all. So he talks Downer or Tucker into going to lunch with him to thank him for giving him a ride. And his whole thing is that he needs to go to the bathroom really badly.
Yeah.
All the time, apparently.
Yeah.
Because he says to Tucker, he's like, yeah, if you just give me a ride to a toilet, I promise I won't go in your car. And then, of course, he does. And then he says he'll treat him to lunch. And so
this is about where I started to be checking out. I'm like,
it's only like 10 minutes into the movie.
Step one toward the door.
It's the classic, like if you look at the camera, it's like, this is the classic. It's
yeah.
The phone came up quickly in this one.
Yep. Looking to see what time it is. All of it.
So basically Nash is a con man. He goes to different arcades and cons, like bets money against, he does the fucking hustle, he the color of money where like, oh, I'm really terrible at pool. Oh no, actually I'm really the best fucking pool player you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But this dude plays Zaxxon.
Yeah.
Which I remember.
I played it a lot.
Yeah, it was decent.
It's not something I would try to get good at though.
But so there's this overlying story of the guy that's the best Zaxxon player in the world, and his name is Zap.
Of course.
Henceforth, the Hollywood Zap name. But it's such a minuscule part of the story, I don't understand why it's in the title.
I almost thought they were going to not close the whole thing up at the end with the video game stuff. But they tried. So
yeah, they tried. So either way, Tucker ends up kind of pairing up with this guy Nash. And the thing that was so frustrating, like he separates himself from Nash and then goes back to him like 4 or 5 different times.
Yeah, always showing up in fucking disguises and stuff. Like he's on Arrested Development or something.
Yeah, it's bizarre. But so basically, he finds a lawyer that knew the day. First, he meets an uncle who's a fucking scumbag. And the uncle gives him the information of a lawyer that his dad worked to. And then so he goes to the lawyer's office, and the lawyer's like, "Listen, I can't give you any information. Like, that's against policy or whatever," which is true. But, client confidentiality or whatever.
Yeah, even back then.
Yeah. So he gets Nash to help him break into the lawyer's office to get the information, and this sets off a set of events of him trying to find his dad. Now he does eventually find his dad, Chris, right?
Yeah, that does happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And this movie is very 1986. In its use of derogatory terms that would get you in trouble now if you were to say them.
Yeah.
And also in its treatment of a character who had a sex change operation.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was going to be worse than it was. They actually kind of almost, maybe I would consider that halfway toward redeemed at the end.
Out of nowhere, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so Tucker ends up finding his dad. He knows that he knows that he went to this it's like a religious halfway house type thing or something, and he meets the priest there, and he's like, my dad, I'm looking for my dad. He says his dad's name and starts explaining how he's missed him for so long, and then the sister turns around, and the sister is the dad.
Yeah.
But he
sister
explains,
as in religious sister.
Yes.
Yes.
And so she explains to him how she had to leave because she, did not feel that he could be a father and needed to change who he was because he was a man in a woman in a man's body, and he went, and then the church helped him, and which is not what would really happen.
Not now. Maybe then when they were concerned with community and actually helping people.
Maybe. So has the sex change operation, and he's very much like, son, I'm so glad you're here. I've missed you so much. And he just basically is like, nope, not having any of this.
I mean, they did a really good job of making him Midwestern conservative. Like, you knew as soon as you saw what was going on, you knew he was going to react badly to it. But then it was, he's been searching for him for how long? How long is he going to be mad at him for? That was where I got to.
Right. But he leaves with, I don't ever want to see you again. I don't ever want to talk to you again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have a kid, you could write him a fucking letter. You know where he lives. Right?
So, so he ends up leaving and then finds Nash and steals Nash's girlfriend, and then the two of them get married and have children. But then at the end, and Aunt Doris shows up or whatever. So that's the point, to be like, he didn't hold it against the father. Now the father comes to visit every now and then.
Yeah, there's a little bit of acceptance, which was nice to see, because normally you wouldn't have that.
No, you wouldn't.
Or the whole movie would be based around that.
Right.
But it's not. It's just one of those, it took him a second, maybe a year, had to get married and have a baby, right?
Yep.
But it happened, and he said they're all happy. Everybody looked happy. I was confused that the two of them ended up together, because I thought she was with the George Carlin to be detective. I don't know what happened. How did they switch? Why'd she switch teams?
All it was when Tucker said that he was finally leaving. He says goodbye to Nash, and he says goodbye to the girl, and she hasn't spoken through the entire film. And then she says, Tucker, I always really liked you. And I guess that was enough for him to come back and steal her.
Okay. It was, we got to do something with, we don't have an ending.
Right. So
got it.
Credit I will give this movie is that it took the story it was telling, and it told it to completion, and gave you, pretty much what you would want from it. Yeah. We also learned that the Zap character has passed away, and Tony, what's his last name? Tony.
Oh, I don't know.
He was in every movie that had a little person in it back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Cox?
Yeah. I don't know. I'll find out.
Tony Cox, yeah. He ends up being Zap's brother. And he's like, oh, Zap died. You didn't hear? He died in a car accident or whatever. And so that's how they close up that story.
Yeah, that was not necessary.
But again, I mean, that whole angle wasn't necessary.
No, but video games were a big thing. And
right.
Maybe the people that made Zaxxon, they helped sponsor it. I didn't read the credits because I didn't care.
I can't imagine that they did, because it's so low rent, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, McDonald's put all their money into fucking Mac and Me, so who knows?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, so I mean, the issues that I have is the main character of Tucker is just such a fucking weenie.
Yeah.
And like, he's supposed to be in, like, I'm guessing his early 20s, but he acts like a child.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's ever been treated like an adult. So, but still, yeah, he's very naive going out into the world.
The way he talks, like the kid guy, oh, my daddy. I'm like, oh my God, Jesus.
Yeah. That's the one thing. The one thing I hate about Terrifier 2 is they called them mommy and daddy. And it's like, dude, you're both teenagers. Stop.
Yeah.
Just please stop.
Yeah. And there's also the claw thing that Nash carries. What was the deal with that?
What was that again?
He like used it for like it was a weapon that he used for like self-defense, but it was just like a lobster claw.
Yeah, I don't understand. It was in the opening credits as a thing in the animated part, right? So
Yeah.
he didn't actually hurt anybody with it. It was just sort of like one of those things you see at the UK football game. You spin it around and it's got that clack thing in it.
Yeah, it was bizarre, man. It was bizarre.
I don't know. I think it was just I'm going to guess that they had bigger plans for it, and then it didn't. Nothing worked.
Yeah, the only time they really used it was Tucker steals it from him to go get information from somebody and threatens them with it. And that's it.
Yep.
That's it. So I think we've certifiably used enough or taken what we can out of this. Hollywood Zap. Chris, do you recommend it, and what is your grade?
No, I'm not going to recommend it. The only good thing about this is that I finally got to see a real human being make a sound that a cartoon character makes, because this guy is a lot like Zeke from Bob's Burgers, because a bunch of times he says, "Do what?" And I'm like, that is an actual, okay, good. Thank you, movie. So I'm not going to fail it because of that. It was skirting pretty close. There was some stuff that just makes me walk away from things that were hinted at but never happened. So I can't judge it for what I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I'm not going to recommend it, and I'm just going to give this a D+. It's
Fair.
It's there. It's on Tubi. They have it.
I'm in agreement with you. Like, it's I can't be too mad at it because they did tell the story they were trying to tell, despite how cheap everything felt. The annoying main character, but it's it is what it is. It's cheap. Yeah. It looks cheap. It feels cheap. All the music is bad. Like it's a fart of a movie.
Yeah,
like it happened. And we can't be mad at it because it needed to happen, I guess. But but we didn't need it at the same time.
Good practice for everybody involved,
or the end of the career for everybody involved.
Yeah, there's that.
So I will give it a D+ also. I don't know. I'll give it a D. I'll give it a D because Robo War is way more enjoyable than this. So I can't.
It
give
really
them the same
was.
Grade. Can't give them the same grade. So there you have it. This is, as we said, available. It's on Tubi and Fossum and Plex and all those places. Okay, so no Joe this week. Joe took the week off. He had some stuff going on at home, so he'll be back next week to start the Carnosaur series.
Oh, right.
So we're going to do Scott's segment right now and see what's up.
All right.
Wowee, another anniversary show is coming up next week, so you still have time to get me a gift or something.
Maybe you'd like a Singapore sling.
Yes. Or a Colombian necktie.
Oh, geez, yeah.
How about instead you get me a wall-size photo of myself to stare at me all the time?
Very narcissistic that you would think you would want a poster size, or not even a poster size, wall size photo of yourself on the wall to stare at you the whole time.
Fine, give me the Colombian necktie.
Deal. What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. With Reverend Scott.
Realize that was on the loop. In the loop.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott, and welcome back to Holy Shit, a segment where I review movies. But this week, I'm not reviewing a movie. This week, I'm going to talk about season 1 of a new show on Paramount Plus.
Okay, we could do that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. All right.
And who knows, maybe if you're really good, I'll give you some reviews on your movies that you reviewed last week.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Good. So remember the other day when you were saying that you really wish you could see Billy Bob Thornton play a worn-out old alcoholic that manages a massive oil drilling organization in West Texas?
I don't remember.
Well, the show is real, and it's called Landman, all one word. Billy Bob plays Tommy Norris, who starts out the first episode with a burlap bag over his head bleeding onto his clothes as international drug cartel members threaten him. Sounds like a bad thing, right?
Could be bad, could be good.
You see, the oil company pays to lease out the land, and then they drill for oil. And then they make billions of dollars as they pay those landowners millions to lease it.
That's fair.
But the drug cartel wants to use the land for other things, like raising puppies probably. We quickly find out that Tommy is fast-talking and very good at convincing bad people that a lot of very powerful people with ties to large government organizations have money invested in these oil fields. So he gets out by the skin of his teeth. And when I say that's probably the least of Tommy's worries during the show, it's an understatement. Because before long, Tommy's ex-wife Angela, played by Allie Larder from one of the best horror movies ever, Final Destination 2, shows up to move into his house with him.
Yeah, that's the big problem, isn't it?
I'm not done yet. Also, Tommy's 17-year-old daughter Ainsley shows up, which tends to be very awkward not only for Tommy and his adult roommates, but for the viewer as well. Because Ainsley is almost always either running around in a bikini or showing her entire bare ass on screen, but thankfully she's played by 27-year-old Michelle Randolph. But at least make the goddamn character 18 or something so it doesn't feel like it's illegal to be watching this show. But that's just a Taylor Sheridan thing, I guess. He's the go-to writer and creator of most of the shows on Paramount+. And he loves to write women and girls exactly how he wishes they really were in real life. Or at least how he thinks his redneck viewers of the show wish they were in real life.
Shit ain't right. What's wrong with this dummy?
Another thing Taylor Sheridan likes is huge spectacles. Not like the kind you wear in your face, but like the explosive kind. Such as an early on scene where we see this cargo van driving down one of the vacant roads that the oil company created to transport their oil. The van screeches to a stop right next to a small prop plane that just landed on the road near them. The plane proceeds to unload millions of dollars of heroin into the van. Sounds pretty not good already, doesn't it?
No. No, that's not good. I don't like that.
Right.
That's when a big rig oil truck comes barreling over the hill and plows into the plane and van and exploding in a giant fireball of mangled cartel bodies.
That's a new one. I haven't heard of that one.
So now Tommy not only has to worry about the cartels, but also his boss John Hamm and his promiscuous ex-wife, his teenage daughter. Oh, and did I mention his son that graduated with a degree in like petroleum engineering or something, wants to work on his dad's oil rig with the low men on the totem pole? That is, until there's an accident there too, and blowing up his entire crew, leaving him the last man standing.
Yeah, that happened.
Now there's a hotshot lawyer showing up from the oil company to assess who's at blame for all this shit. Needless to say, Tommy's a bit worried that he's going to be the scapegoat. Overall, it's a very simple story.
Very simple here. Very simple.
You got that right.
There's actually a lot more going on that I haven't even mentioned about this season. Like how Tommy lives in this giant-ass mansion in Texas with this petroleum engineer guy that never seems to bathe, and a old man lawyer that seems to be very perturbed by the 17-year-old running around in her underwear. And the show is obviously sponsored by Michelob Ultra, too, as they're seen drinking it label out in almost every scene and talking about how it doesn't really count as drinking alcohol because even an alcoholic like Tommy can drink it.
Okay. That's some
so
failed logic there.
But at the end of the day, this show really relies on the snarky, sarcastic, smartass mouth of Billy Bob Thornton. He's literally his character from Bad Santa. I mean, not literally, but I mean, even at one point he repeats his famous line, "You can wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which fills up first."
God damn, okay.
Not gonna lie, there's a lot to like in this show. Despite some of the stereotypical stuff Allie Larder does and says, every time I listen to her, I just cringe thinking that Taylor Sheridan wrote her this way.
Oh, so terribly, too. Like, is that his first time?
I think maybe.
But it's not all explosions and tits and ass. There's actually some touching scenes between Tommy's son and the widow of one of the members of his crew that blew up. And there's also lots of fast-talking goodness that definitely keeps you on your toes. There's even a cool cameo in the final episode that I believe will lead to a full new character in season 2, so I'm kind of excited to see that. I won't spoil who that is, though. So I went into Landman expecting...
It's not terrible. It's just kind of bad.
But instead I was pleasantly surprised and entertained. I recommend you check it out, and I give it, I don't know, a straight B for season 1. Oh, and did I mention John Hamm's wife is Demi Moore? And she has like maybe 3 lines the whole season?
That was confusing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Seems like a
Maybe she
waste.
has a bigger part in season
Yeah.
2. Kind of hope so.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
What I do know is I need to wrap things up. And since you were good little boys and stuck around the whole time, let's see how you did on last week's reviews. Starting with Vicious Lips. Despite sounding like an absolute trainwreck Wish.com version of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where halfway through the writers just, I don't know, fuck off and disappear.
Apparently, get into a car, speed off, get into a car accident, and die.
It sounded fun as hell, and I give that review a B-. Queens of Evil, on the other hand, was quite the Hansel and Gretel for the modern age, if it was still 1970.
Yep.
I could tell you both could relate to wanting to fulfill all your carnal desires with 3 lovely witches.
But we felt it here and felt it like significantly.
It lasted like
20 seconds?
conservatively, I would say like 15, 20 seconds.
That was a terrific review that deserves an A-. I might even watch that flick, but I probably won't.
You don't happen to have an oven the size of a human being, do you?
So until next week when we celebrate the anniversary of Holy Shit, peace and love, guys. Holy Shit with Reverend Scott.
If your arteries aren't blocked with cheese, this will do it. That's a good one. I like that.
All right, guys. So this is the last episode of our 16th season. We move to 17 next week.
Yep.
Insane. So next week on the show, we will give you the top 6 and bottom 6 films that we reviewed on the show for this past year. I sent you the list. You get it?
I did.
All right.
Yes.
So if you would like to reach out and say anything, you can. If not, no big deal. I'm used to it. It's fine. It's cool. But yeah, that's what we'll be doing next week. And then we'll get into some new flicks the following week. So,
Yeah.
all right. Hey, everyone
Sounds
have a good
good.
week. Do your best to keep your chin up, okay?
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.